there was no difference in the outcome because we knew what the taste was. Because Campbell Soup wanted the soup to be the same.
Yeah.
And so they had, well, these guys got to 78, 75 years old, and Campbell Soup goes, these guys die and we're in trouble.
I think I'm back.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello,
so
Charlie.
back, that's it.
Yeah.
If it works, don't fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what they were doing to artificial intelligence, to get these guys to describe so that they could computerize it. So anyhow, I'm back at Burger King, and I said, hey, you're a mathematician. How is that this thing? And I described it. And I said, it's called artificial intelligence. He says, no, that's not artificial intelligence. It's in the president's office. That's artificial intelligence.
So did we miss the meeting?
What was that?
Did we miss the meeting?
No, we just
Trying to get started.
but we don't have that many people here. See, I think there's so many other things going on today. That there's a Timonium show this weekend, and there's the open house at the Abington Lines Model Railroad Club.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I think we have, I don't think we're going to have a big turnout.
We have a lot of donuts left.
We'll send some over. Put them on Amtrak.
Who you got on?
Here's who we have on. That we have the Krauses on, Alan Trachtenberg, Jim Sparkman, and Dick Short.
And George Gula and Mark Hinkle.
Yeah.
And I guess, as he said before, Evelyn would be Dick Short.
Yeah. It looks like Dick Short is on twice there, but I don't think they had their camera turned on.
Yeah, and also they're muted.
And here at John's house, we have Bruce Harvey, Larry Loico, and
the other guy.
What's your name?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah,
So
Laura.
it's very small. You're right. Very small turnout.
A friend of mine just sent me some information that big investors are shorting all American stocks. Expecting a crash. So I'm sending information to my mom. To place the stock market.
Who's your retirement system?
TIAA Cref.
Good.
They're paying attention. Sorry, a little distracted.
Yeah. That's okay. That's real distraction.
Yeah.
I tell you what, why don't I kill these shades here, which will give you a better view there.
Yeah.
And if you want, we could set the camera, we could,
See,
move
the
the chairs.
camera's right here.
Yeah, but we could move it so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could see us
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yeah.
Let me, don't drop that one all the way down because it's busted.
Yeah. I was told about the
Yeah.
Let's see. Charlie, if we set the computer over there and we sat back here.
Here, I think it's a work. Yeah.
They probably could see us.
Yeah.
We can bring a chair there. You'll have to tell us. Let me see, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to capture the screen. By the way, we got coffee in here, soda.
Heart shaped donuts.
What do you want to do? We could set up a little program here whereby we each talk about something that we're doing or a certain tool that we're using or something like that. I have one I'm going to bring up from the basement that maybe you all have, but we maybe engage these guys in the same thing. I'll be right back. In fact, Charles, you could do your two cars, your two engines.
You could be a teacher. You could do a whole bunch of jobs. Yeah, I had I was done for years, so half of us were nurses and half were teachers. That's the main part of it.
No, I wonder where our president is doing now. He rarely now calls me to let me know of things.
Yeah, see, I think he's so tied up with other stuff.
Well, he's doing his car part delivery thing.
Good job, yeah.
But then he says on weekends, he's usually got some family things.
Yeah, see, I think he's, I think my sister sort of has the same problem. But see, my brother-in-law, my sister, my brother-in-law, like, they're 5 years younger than me. So they were like 1953, so and the thing is, my brother-in-law, he has like 20 cousins, like 21 cousins. See, it's like,
Yeah.
his father had like one sister and one brother. And they each had like a family of 7 or 8.
Right.
So See, so they're all, so they all have
Family,
kids
yeah.
in like their
Yeah.
mid-30s to very early 40s. So there's constantly, so there's weddings and christenings
Yeah,
or so,
yeah, yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what.
Because last time he, later talked to me, he had a baby shower that he went to.
Yeah,
for his
yeah.
family, so
Yeah,
be that as it may.
yeah.
But the last time he wanted to know if he could come over my house and start working on a trolley module that I have available for him to build. Because he wants a private railroad of his own. And I think he probably either forgot or missed or didn't want to go to the show up there in New England at in Massachusetts.
Springfield, yeah.
Springfield, yeah. See what happens.
I sent a lot of, I made up the notices to send to the vendors for the meeting.
Yeah.
See, so that's the reason I'm out of work, so I feel I've done enough of that, I don't, see, so.
So I've been thinking about it, is moving to other than Friday night meetings a good or a bad thing? I don't know.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure. I mean, it's nice not having to navigate in the dark. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's,
But see, for me, I am pretty much giving up nighttime driving.
Yeah.
Because of the glare from headlights
Yeah.
or whatever. How I used to be able to get around, but then can I remember how to navigate to some of these places? That's the whole thing.
yeah, see,
That's
so
where I started becoming a real believer in the GPS.
Yeah,
And I,
yeah.
my Toyota, it's built in,
Oh.
and my Ford truck, I got there was a $10,000 difference in the price of the truck with this panel versus mine, which is simpler.
Yeah.
But through my phone, it talks to the truck.
Sure.
And
No, that's the way.
the
Tom-
display is on the phone.
Yeah, that's the way
And then-
Tom Later's thing is.
Yeah.
He does that.
And it's been terrific.
yeah, well, see, my Chevy Bolt has the Apple CarPlay.
Oh,
So it shows up, it uses the data in the phone.
Yeah.
So it gets the current data
Yep.
from the navigation of the phone, but it displays it, on the dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to look at it, but it doesn't give me the audible thing. That see, somehow, when I first got the car, it was working, and I had I brought the car back, my nephew drove me down to my sister's house, like a year ago. And on the way back, I think there was a critical football game or so. And that was interfering in the rain. So his wife was sitting, so he was driving, his wife was in the passenger seat, and she did something to shut the sound off from the navigation. And I haven't figured out how to bring it back.
Yeah, okay.
you gotta have a grandson to do that.
You got it.
Cause he got in the car and he knew which button, and he's never been in my truck before. And, oh, this grandpa.
Yeah, see, and his wife figured out how to do it, and I've been figuring out how to get it back. Now the sound works
Yeah.
because I do get, when I pull up
Or whatever.
to one of these traffic lights that has the cameras,
Yeah.
it'll tell me,
Oh.
you know, the camera, the red light camera's there.
Mm.
But it won't give me, but it doesn't say turn at this corner.
Yeah.
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 That only appears.
I've gotten into this thing called blogs, which are really presentations on the internet. And the ones I'm using while driving the car are just audio. And so I'll have my navigation system saying at the next red light, turn left, and all the rest of that. And then the blog is you're playing a recording.
Yeah.
So since it's both coming out of the phone, they talk, electronically, they talk to each other. So there's this conversation and they're talking about railroading or something like this, or modeling. And I'm coming up to a red light and I notice on the map that I'm gonna have to make a turn there, and the audio stops on the blog. And the navigation comes on, she says, it's a female voice, she says, at the next red light, you're gonna make a left turn onto Lamb Road.
Yeah.
And so I make the turn onto Lamb Road, and then the GPS stops broadcasting, and the pod comes back on, and they back it up about 8 or 9 words. So that you pick up, you know, well, what were they talking about? Oh, you know, and it's just seamless. It just works so well. And now there are some blogs that are not worth listening to in the railroading area. Oh my gosh, these guys, they go on and on. This is what I was thinking of, what we could do, and we'll see if these guys are willing to do it. Is
I have the treasurer's report. I can.
okay. We could start with that, and then maybe we could talk a little bit about what we've got. I know Charles here has 2 beautiful bottles to show, and we can do that. I've got a couple of technical things.
So where we sit with the treasury right now, the cash account has $270.79. The checking account has $3,495.35. The money market has $18,785.31. And the PayPal has $113.60 for a total of $22,665.05. The meat registrations, that includes 1 meat registration, but I think there's several that are in my mail that I'll get when I get home, because my mail doesn't come till about 3 or 4 o'clock.
I did it by PayPal.
Registration I have is from George Gula.
And you already got mine today.
Yeah.
Mine's in the mail. Any comments from the guys?
Yeah.
Nobody's talking.
Talking, yeah. And I did send out, I guess it's almost 100 meat registrations to the dealers that we've had over the past few years. So the dealers have the information to register for the meat. So it'll be interesting to see what the response will be from them.
I guess it's probably a little too early to find out how many dealers are going to really be there, right?
Yeah.
But then are we pretty well set for the meet itself, the physical layout of the building and the?
Yes,
Facility
yeah, I
and
think it
everything,
basically it'll be the same as before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, see, so the package that was sent to the dealers includes the meat flyer,
Right,
then it also has the map of the table layout.
yeah,
And then there's like a little welcome, see, and it gives you information, you know, you have to register the state to collect sales tax or so, but we have a promoter's license, which I think makes it a little easier for them.
now essentially the physical layout of what's going to be in the building is the same as usually it is the dealers that are on end.
Yes,
The modules and so forth at the entrance end.
at the entrance end, yes.
And then the
Yeah.
clinics and so forth can happen anywhere.
The clinics will happen on the meat floor. See, that's the one downside to Allentown. They don't really have a suite of conference rooms where we
Right,
can run
right.
clinics.
Cause I used to just be able to have my clinic right there at
Yeah.
the table. And then they would have different clinics in various
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
also going to have a couple of evening programs. We've made arrangements to get the meeting room on both Friday and Saturday evening at the Freebie campus that's down the next block.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good facility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you know, the other thought I had, but I think reading their website, I think it's maybe only for longer term. That like some of these senior citizen centers, they provide like respite care. So like a main caregiver can go away for a vacation for a week or so
Mhm.
and provide the facility, so like an assisted living type facility. You know, but I think the minimum stay is about a week or so, rather than just a couple of days. It's almost a thought that some of our people are almost maybe candidates, that would be like an ideal place to stay.
Mhm. Yeah,
But then there'd be staff there, you know, to help them with, you know, taking a medication, etc. And if something happened, but I don't think they do it for just a couple of days. It's, I think, it's more like a minimum of a week and, you know,
Mhm.
up to like a month or so.
do we know at this point what are the possible clinics that will be presented? Has anyone put forth clinic topics that they would care to discuss? I know I have not yet decided on any clinics or clinics that I would like to give, but you know, it can happen.
I sort of thought about that. Because I'm involved with the NMRA and we do, you know, a lot of clinic. And one of my members said, because I was getting kind of short on who was going to present a clinic coming up. And he said, well, you know, so-and-so presented this 3 or 4 years ago. Why don't we repeat it? And I thought, yeah, that's a possibility. So it may be that
It's recyclable.
you know, recycle. I do one on street paving and track in a way that I do it. And I actually demonstrate it. You know, I bring a couple pieces of track. I do it in HO. You know, and show them how I do it. And I have, all right, you got this, all right, now the stuff has to set. All right, here's some stuff that's set. Now, what are you gonna do? You know, and tricks such as how do you keep your pavement out of the flangeway? And there's that old trick, you put string in it.
Yep.
And then when you're done,
Take it up.
you pull it out. And at one time I didn't do that, and it took me about 4 hours to dig it out with a dental pick.
Yeah.
It was, to dig out the pavement. And so, redoing some of those and even reviewing something that I've done 100 times and seeing another guy doing it, and you go, that guy's got a better way of doing that particular step. Or that's the way to use that particular step when you've got whatever the problem you got. Otherwise there's other ways of doing it. I think that's valuable.
Definitely.
And
And you always get new guys who've never done anything before, so.
that's exactly
The
right.
idea of having a repeat clinic.
Yeah. Hanging overhead there's plenty of stuff on the internet and that about putting track down. But how many YouTubes are on hanging the overhead? How do you start? You're gonna have to start with a piece of wire suspended 20 feet or so above the rail. And then you've got to go down, and how are you going to do that? How is that wire going to be suspended and that? And then how do you maintain the tension on that? Because you only got 2 hands and you got soldering iron and that, what do you do with that? And I have a way that I do it, and I can't tell you where I learned it, but somebody taught me, and maybe some of it is my stuff that I experimented with.
That's right.
And, but somebody else could come to me and say, John, if you do this, and I'll go, why didn't I think of that?
Somebody else taught you something new, right?
Any comments from our friends on the internet?
Is anybody out there alive?
Yes,
So,
Or are we talking to ourselves?
Oh, I'm out here.
It would help if you were closer to your microphone.
Can't quite hear you where you are. Speak out louder.
Yeah, this is Chuck Kraus, but it's as if you're way on the other side of the room.
Maybe we should move closer.
or we bring the camera, let's bring
Exactly.
the set back.
I'm closer.
Yeah, or you.
Yeah.
And speak
So once I
clearly.
don't drop it. Gonna bring you in a little closer, and we're gonna sit a little closer.
Okay.
So we can hear you, you can hear us, and
Hopefully things will be better.
the other thing we're doing is we decided we're gonna do a little bit of show and tell. Because the East Penn leadership, why'd that go dark, Charlie?
What's that?
It was nice and bright.
I think
Oh,
it
that was
depends
it.
on the angle
Yeah,
you look
okay.
at it.
All
Yeah,
right.
Yes, it's not a.
don't step on your parts there.
I'm gonna show you
Also,
something. Give me a
You were
thumbs up. if you
backlit by the
see it
window
clearly.
behind you.
Give me a thumbs up if you can see this clearly.
Yeah, we got 1 or 2.
Okay. Okay, we got a thumbs up. All right. I'm gonna move in just a little closer. And do one topic, and then some other guys got some topics to do here. And then if there's time, I'll come back. What this is a portable soldering iron. Made by Weller. You're probably familiar with the Weller name. And if you want to copy down the model, it's B as in boy, L as in Lima, 60, M as in Mike, P as in Papa. It's a 3.7 volt, 12 watt soldering iron. The nice thing about this is we're trolley modelers, and we've all had our plug-in small soldering irons to hang overhead and end up with the wire on the back end of the soldering iron gets tied up in the overhead, and we've all been there, and do more damage than good in trying to redo a hanger or to make a modification. This here is off right now. When I throw the switch on, you should see the little light right here. Okay, see that little light means it's on, but the light is it's sort of a red-orange. Now, I'm not going to touch up here because this thing is getting hot, and it gets very hot. Now, that little light there will tell me when I'm ready to solder. And see, it just went green. I hope it's showing up green. It's on our screen, we're seeing it as green.
Yes.
Yes, it
Now
is.
that means, watch out, don't get near that there. But talk about getting up inside of wiring and getting to that hanger and being able to heat that hanger and just draw the solder through to get a nice joint. This is so nice, and I'm not tied into, I have to find a plug to plug it in and all the rest of that. And so that's how this works. And the last time I charged this was probably 9 months ago. It really, the battery in here really does last about 30 minutes of operating. So even though I'm turning it off, it probably uses a little bit more power turning it back on. If I'm going to set this aside because I have to do something else as part of the project, it's probably best to turn it off, even though you may use more battery power turning it back on. But if it's sitting there just not doing anything, you're probably going to remove the charge. Now, one of the things I use with this, pardon? Model number is BL60MP, 3.7 volts, 12 watts.
How long does it take to charge?
Say again, please.
How long does it take to recharge the battery?
Did you get that?
Yeah, how long does it take to recharge the battery?
Oh, recharge the battery is about 30 minutes.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you.
But if you're out on the layout doing a bunch of projects and turning it on and off, it's I'm surprised that I'll be doing a whole number of hangers or track work with it, and all of a sudden I go, oh, I lost my charge. So I've never really timed it, and maybe I am being inefficient in turning it on and off. But you want to turn it on, you usually do one step in something, and then you're going to be doing something else with it, retensioning the overhead or whatever it is as part of the process. It's best, at least in my experience, to turn it off. Now, the one problem is, you see how small the base of this is. So standing it up, it will stand up on its own, but it is kind of
heavy, yeah.
top heavy. So what I do is I have this small, I forget what was in this, some kind of vegetable can. And see, even if it falls over, you can see that you're not going to have a hot tip sitting there, and then your finger gets into it.
Yeah.
Or of course, it's going to fall against a plastic bottle and burn a hole in the side of it, or, Murphy's Law runs rampant. Now, let me show you the charger. I think I paid somewhere around $30 for this. This is the charger. It's a little transformer on the plug there. Pretty good length of wire. And what you have to do is make sure it's not on or hot when you stick it in here, or you may need to buy another charger. So the charger has two contacts inside it, and when you put the soldering iron in there, you'll see there are two silver ports right here, and so they have to line up with the two ones that you can just see reflected in there. But you put it in, and you can't put it in the wrong way. And plug that in, and it will tell you when it's charged. And you put it in with the switch off. And so I just offer you this as an option to a wired soldering iron. And for those of you in HO, you've got a lot less space to maneuver underneath the wire with the track. And I'll tell you, as an O scaler, this has helped me out a lot. Service of the tip, keep the tip clean. You can use a little bit of flux on it to tin the tip. And other than that, it's fine. I would suggest you not use a file because
Can you get extra tips for
that's
it?
that's the good question. I don't know the answer to that as to whether you can get an extra tip. Oh, by the way, there's also a little LED right below the soldering tip to light up the work area where you're working. So
I'm looking at it on Amazon. They have tips.
they do have tips?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the guys here said he's looked it up on Amazon and you can get replacement tips for the soldering iron.
Now, where did you get it at? Did you get it through Amazon or?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I may have bought it online. In fact, I think I did buy it online. And somebody came up with this soldering iron and I said, I need something like that. And it's served me well. And by the way, it holds a charge. As I said, I think I charged this sometime early last year. And I've used it on occasion, and it's still holding the charge. I know I'm getting to a point where all of a sudden, in Murphy's Law, I'll be right in the middle of a soldering job, and it'll die on me. And so.
Get another one. Now you have two.
Any questions? Okay. Who wants to sit in the presenter's chair here and ad lib a presentation?
We have somebody else with some trolley cars, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Charles, you want to do that? I'll move out of the seat.
Okay.
And I got a second one here. I can. The red chair is the presenter's
Red
chair.
chair. Red chair. Okay. We'll go here. So, I was hoping to run these today as a train. This is something that I got from Shapeways many moons ago. And the paints, some of them are from, oh God, what is that new paint company? They made IT Brewster Green and IT Freight Car Red, which was used for the windows. What's the new paint that everyone's using? It's not Flow Quill, that's the old one.
Combined?
No, my memory's going. No. Anyways, the red is from just primer from a can, and it looks pretty good. So the thing is very modular, which is why I'm going to put the decals on next. But we're a little worried about some of the decals. I got a set of Klauser ones that had the first emblem for the IT, and I'm really excited to do that one. And I'm really nervous about doing that one. So we'll have to, might have to pay Norm Hauser to do it. Other ones, yay! This was kind of ready to go. Also went to decal it 2 weeks ago, and the decals all fell apart. So gotta get another set, but my CNLE one is mostly finished, enough to decal, and then here's a question for folks. So the bumpers are black, but are the top of the bumpers black? So write that in the comments if you know the answer. Are the top of the bumpers supposed to be black? Notice that they're red right now. If they're supposed to be red, I'll just touch up red. And if they're supposed to be black, that's an easy fix. So hopefully these will be running around in circles at the East Penn. Or maybe in March when we have our meet at the New York Society of, or rather meeting at the New York Society of Model Engineering. Hopefully you'll come. I'll have a nice charcuterie board with lots of meats, lots of pickles, other kind of nibbles and things like that. We'll have good things to drink, and you'll be able to run your stuff on our layout, which has a city section and an urban section. And just to remind you, if you have big O-scale diesel, steam, electric things, we have a nice two-rail DCC system, the two-rail DC system. We also do Blue Nami on the big layout. So things to think about. You'll see this running around in circles in March 1st. So that's the quick story. Is anyone out there in TV land working on your own projects? You know, can you grab them and hold them up and say, see? Yes?
Nobody else.
Oh, I'm sure
yes.
I'm sure there are.
I have something that I can show you. It's a model that my father built for me 75 years ago.
Wow.
Let's see if I can get it on camera. Okay, yeah. There you go.
Yep.
And here's the front end.
Okay.
And he even put a rotating wheel up here. And
Nice.
And a nice tight rope. And the platform is from a Lionel tank car. It was that real cheap. Let's see. I think this. Yeah, I forget the numbers offhand. It was like 2000. Like the box car is 79, the tank car is 80. It was a real cheap war set from about 1941. And my father was a sheet metal worker at the Navy Yard, and he built several toys for me, but this is the best one. And for storage, he made the pole base removable, so you could stick the pole inside the car. But
nice.
But of course, to run it, we had to hook it up behind a locomotive and tender, But, and of course, for display, I have the couplers turned in. But this sits right at my computer, so I see it all the time.
Very nice.
Is that the Philadelphia Navy Yard that your father worked?
Yeah, Philadelphia Navy Yard, in
Huh.
Shop 28.
I have a similar story. My dad, I'm originally from New York City, and my dad worked for a contractor for the Navy. They provided electronic fire control for the large rifles on the, or guns, as the Navy, the Navy calls them rifles, the large guns on the ships. And his company was right along the waterway there in an industrial building is right next to the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And I was born in 1939, and so he bought those semi-scale Lionel train sets, and so I had, and I still have them, and they're really quite well done versus the tin plate ones they had just prior to that. But then the war happened and you couldn't get Lionel trains. But my dad found out that there was a certain hobby shop in New York City, in Manhattan, where they had Lionel parts and you could go and buy trucks. And so my father scratch built 3 flat cars, probably rummaged around the scrap bin or something and got this flat metal, and he built 3 flat cars and loaded them up. He scratch built some crates and on one car, and cut some tree limbs from our backyard for a log car. And the third one, he had spaces on it and I could put my dinky toy trucks and cars on it. And so I had 3 flat cars that were done. But the fact that they were in war work and still were able to do modeling is a neat historical story.
Yes.
So model railroading supported the war effort. That's my story. I'm done.
Anyone else?
Well, you have something else here for another.
Yeah, I'll do that,
another little
yeah.
project. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Any questions?
Hold it up again, Alan.
Hold it up. Hold up your thing.
Charles.
Oh,
His,
yes.
yeah.
Alan, hold it up, hold the model up again.
He's probably not listening.
Alan,
Yes.
yes,
Hey,
we
what-
request to
what-
see the model again.
Okay. Let's see, I'll turn it around this way, so this way you see the doors. Okay, here's the side view. Let's see. Yeah, I want to make sure I can see it on my screen. Okay, yeah, here's the side view. Then here's the front view. And you
Very
see,
nice.
and you see there's the headlight. And let's see. And on the rear, let's see. I'm trying to. Can you see the? Let's see. Yeah, can you see the rear?
No, well, lift it a little higher, please.
Okay. Yeah, I think the light's not getting to it. But anyhow, there's even.
Well, it's off camera, so we can see part of your head and part of your hand, but
let's see.
The crane is off camera.
Okay, I think, okay,
There
now,
we go.
okay. So let's see if I would, okay, I can turn it around now.
There we go.
So you see, it has a trolley catcher. Oops, what happened? It's somehow I blacked out. Oh, what's, let
Is
me,
that sufficient?
yeah, let me
Thank
try
you.
this, check the view again. Okay, let's, okay, so let's see, where am I? Yeah, I got this light my way. Okay, I think, okay, here. Okay, here we go. Oops, a little
Looks
crooked,
good.
but you can see it has a trolley catcher and the and a rear red light above the windows. I'm not sure what material he used for the roof, but it's top heavy. But of course, over the years, you know, it had some rough handling, but more recently I did some touch up, and it looks pretty good for something 75 years old.
No.
Okay. There you can see.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Okay, well, thanks.
Thank you.
Do you want to go next?
Yeah, I can do another one.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything at this point. All my projects are back home. I didn't bring anything today.
Let me try this out here. I hope that works. A lot of we spend so much time on our track and our overhead, and my model railroad is an example of this, where I've got track, it's ballasted and overhead, and trolleys run on it, and that's fine. But yet, beyond that, what scenery do I have? Well, I have some, but I need to do more. And there is something that, and we can put a little item in the newsletter with the materials, or you can look it up on the internet. And it's called Goop, G-O-O-P.
Wait a minute.
And it doesn't mean anything. Somebody came up with a name.
Sunlight is reflecting on your thing here, so
Oh, okay.
can you see that?
Yeah, well,
Yes,
look at the
and
screen.
showing
You can
up.
see it. Yeah,
Okay.
That's the
Oh, wait a
name.
minute. That's where that.
yeah, that's the name of it. And it's something you make yourself. You don't get it from Woodland Scenics or anybody else like that. And I don't have, when we decided to do this, I just went down to grab the goop, but I will put a little item in the next newsletter about how you make goop. Or, as I said, you can go on YouTube and just type in goop and let it search, and there are some videos on it. And what it is, and mine is a little bit dried out. I might even just put a little water in this, but it looks like dirt. And that's the nice thing about it. It looks like dirt. You make it, you notice that I use a little bit of saran wrap and a seal on this. This is one of those.
There, see, now
Cheese
that should be
things.
able to,
See, is that better? You can see it better?
Yes.
But I use some saran wrap and a relatively tight seal on the container, and it just lasts and lasts. And if it dries out, you can revive it by putting a little bit of water in it. I'm gonna leave the screen for a second because I'm gonna put a little water in this.
time out. Stand by.
No, it's true. That's why, yeah, that's, I mean, I get it in. Yeah, it was true.
He's still mixing the water in.
Back again, and I better, if I spill this on the carpet. Guess who's gonna catch it? Let me just grab a piece of cardboard here.
Well, we have our financial report you can put down on the floor too, I suppose, right? Oh, you do have a lot of water in that mess. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, but it's, when it gets in there deep,
Yeah, it'll,
but this here is probably pretty good. And I'm just using an artist spatula. You can use anything you want. I broke the tip off of it. I got to reshape it. But I've been just allowing this to soak in. Now, let's see if we can make this work. Here's a piece of homosote, and you'll notice that there are 2 screw holes there. And I build my bench work. I have plywood, and then I have homosote on top of it. And you know, and then I lay track right on that. And I don't do much on profiles because a lot of traction companies didn't do a lot of work on profiles for drainage. But anyhow, I had some screw holes because I would screw the homosote into the plywood. And that becomes a real pain in the neck to cover that. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of goop here. Now let's see how I can do this with the screen and keep it over the cardboard. I'm going to flip this over and put some goop there and goop there. And then just spread it in, just like decorating a cake. And, you know, you can let it be a little bit thicker than what you want, because later on you can come back in with a wet spatula, and just like you covering up a nail hole when you're doing sheetrock, you can do this and touch it up. And you can actually spread it on the whole thing. If you've got an area where you need dirt, you can see that the color is a form of dirt. And now I could let this dry a little bit and then spread it, but there are the 2 holes. Then you can spread other foliage around it or whatever you want to do, and you're done. Is that clear enough that you can see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And this stuff costs nothing. And you notice I'm getting comments. I put a lot of water back into here, but if I put too much water in it, I'll leave the cap off of it. It'll evaporate out. I'll mix it up and you can use it again. And there's, I think you use some vermiculite. That's a gardening, right?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
gardening.
for gardening and some other things in water, and that makes this stuff up. You can't buy it in the hobby shop, but I got enough vermiculite that I think I could cover my basement with it. I mean, and it didn't cost that much. And vermiculite lasts, I don't know of any shelf life on that. So
It's essentially a mineral.
Yeah.
yeah. So there is goop. And I invite you to go on YouTube and type in goop. There's a couple of guys showing you doing scenery with goop, and it's great stuff. And the price is right. It's not free, but the price is right. Go and check Woodland Scenics for their prices of their products, which are very good products. But they're a business and they have to make a profit, and they do. We model railroaders are financially opposed to that. So we're trying to always do the workarounds. Questions?
Yes. I once used something totally different. It was called goop. It was a liquid leak detector for compressed air lines. And if you're checking for leak, you squirted some, say like where a joint was, and if you saw bubbling, you knew you had a leak. And that was, it came in a plastic bottle with a tube, a very narrow tube that you could direct it, right where the fitting was. So it's just a coincidence that here's something else called goop.
Yeah. Well, I didn't come up with the name. All I did was I saw this video, and a guy gave a clinic at an NMRA event, and that's where I found out about it. And once I tried it, I've got a couple of these containers sitting down in the basement, ready for new batches. So that's my second modeling tip for the day.
And I still remember at a couple railroad meets where a guy was showing how to make natural looking sort of like dirt ballast and dirt scenery. And he asked, anybody know what this is? Turned out to be cat litter.
Cat litter.
John?
Oh, cat litter. Yeah. I hope prior to its use.
Oh, yeah. As long as it's,
cat got onto it.
yeah, as long as it's clean and out of the bag.
John, will you tell us again what that's made of? I'm finding goop online, but it's some sort of company that's connected with Google.
I'll put a thing in the Trolley Club's newsletter for next time. I'll give you the formula. I don't have it in my head. I do know there's vermiculite, and I do know there's water in it, and it might be some soil, but I'm not sure. I don't want to say that for fact. So I'll get that into the newsletter with it, and I may even have a reference. It's been in the magazines, so it's been around for a while. But you know, you're always
Yeah,
learning something new in this hobby.
What I'm
and-
finding online is goop cake. On YouTube, how to make goop cake.
Goop cake.
Yeah,
Yeah, or maybe goop in model railroading or something like that. So the search engine is more specific, you know, is more pointed. But I'll give you the contents in it, and you know, if you make it too watery, leave the container with the top off for a couple of days, and let some of that water evaporate, and as I said, I was able to
Constituted.
you know, rehydrate this. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
rehydrate, reconstitute.
Yeah,
whatever.
reconstitute it with just some spray water at the kitchen sink. I didn't know how much to do it. I just looked at it and said, that looks pretty good, and started mixing it. And you know, there's the result.
I found it.
And
yeah.
you'll see
I
it.
found the link.
It's in there
I'll post
solidly.
it in the chat window, okay?
I'm sorry, say it again.
I found the link. I'll post it in the chat window.
Oh, okay. Great. We'll have to, Charlie, you'll have to look it up in the chat.
Yeah,
You're just
if everything works right, I should be able to get, this is being recorded, so I should be able to translate it on YouTube, and we'll put a link in the website.
okay. Oh, there's the chat. The chat just came up.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check that out in the chat. Thank you. Who's next?
Well, let me get out of the way here so we're back in the sunlight.
Yeah, there I am in the sunlight. Woo. It's reflecting right off that truck in front, across
Oh,
the
I
street
know,
there.
that's- we can't do any more on the shade, can we? Doing anything? Oh.
Drop it all the way down. There's a bunch of busted things in the shade there.
Doesn't want to work. Not doing it right.
Well, see, I think with the
There you go.
newer,
That's it.
the newer shades come with like a spring mechanism.
Yeah.
Because they don't have
That's
A little bit better.
a little bit better.
they don't
I
have
don't
the
know where I'm
cords
getting
or
it.
so. Because I think they found that, you know, infants were getting a hold of those strings and strangling themselves
that.
with them or so.
It's starting to dry.
Yeah,
You know?
vermiculite, that's a mica.
Yeah, it's related to mica.
A mica based
Yeah.
Yeah,
formula, which
So-
is a mineral.
yeah. Yes, it's a mineral related to mica. Yeah.
Okay, we got the chemists here doing an analysis of goop.
Chemist, a mineralogist,
No,
I
no.
used to do everything.
Now,
yes.
what else do they have? What else was in that besides vermiculite?
I
bit of
think there's
soil.
some soil and water.
See, this thing says something about celluclay, whatever that is.
Yeah, there might be variations on
Yeah,
what they use
yeah.
for the base. I think I used some soil. I have some soil that in bags that I use for layout. I should be using for layout scenery. So who else? Anybody else got anything to contribute? How about you, gentlemen?
No, I unfortunately do not have anything, but all my projects are currently at home being worked on. So I didn't expect that we would be putting a little mini clinics together here today.
By the way, one thing when we were talking prior to we were trying to get this to work. We were talking about track work, and one of my, as an O scaler, I'm having some challenges. I got most of my track down, so it's not a case that I don't have a solution to it. But in O scale, the models weigh more and they put more pressure on the track. And I have a Pittman freight motor, the Lehigh Valley freight motor.
Yes.
And if I threw that at someone, that would be lethal.
Yes.
Because it weighs a ton, but it does pull quite a bit. But I don't know how much that weighs, but it's a couple of pounds at least. And so going through hand laid track, you've got to have it pretty well spiked down, because otherwise it's going to move. And I don't know where I bought them, and it's years ago, maybe in the 1970s. I bought some spikes. I probably bought a box of 1,000 spikes. And the shank on the spike is like the prototype. It's square in cross section. Now all the spikes you get, they stamp them out of a wire. So therefore the shank of the spike is round. So when you put the spike down with the head of the spike up against the web of the rail, and you want that rail held exactly in that position, well, it may hold, but since the shank is round, the pressure or maybe even the running of it, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm getting a derailment here or that, the spike will rotate. So you don't get the head holding it right where it should be. Now, solutions are you dip them in ACC when you're spiking and it'll hold. But I'm in search of O-scale spikes that have the prototypical square shank on it, the cross section of the shank. But we were talking about that before we got the communications here to work, and that was one of my issues. And the other one was in hand laying single point turnouts. I was on a East Penn meet. We met on, I think on a Saturday, and we rode Route 23, which starts down at the ballpark and goes all the way up to, is that City Line Avenue, Charlie?
Chestnut Hill.
Yeah. And that line used to continue on across the county line and go up to Willow Grove. But they had a return track there, a return loop. And we got off the trolley because I guess we had to wait because we had scheduled cars going through and they wanted to fit us in. And I saw a turnout there, a single point turnout. And I looked at the moving point and I thought, gee, that looks long. And so my shoe is about 1 foot long. And so I measured it, taking steps, and found out that that turning point was 10 feet long. And I wonder if, and I've used that since then on any single point turnout. The movable point is always 10 feet long. I just make that as a standard, regardless of the radius of the curve. In other words, the curve would then get sharper as you get further into the turnout. But I've made that, and that has always been successful. I've had very few derailments because of the movable point. So, we were just talking about laying track in what's going on. And, these kinds of communications, I think, are important. A 5-minute communication can solve a lifelong issue of how to do something.
Yes, and I have track diagrams that they define, it's a PRT spiral. That it really goes from like 72-foot radius
To sharper and
to
then.
sharp, like 36-foot radius, and then the actual curve may be a 33-foot radius.
Yeah.
And I just traced them because they were an 1/8" scale, which is close enough to HO, and the 1/8" scale actually compensates for like the gauge difference
Okay.
between 5'2 1/4" and 4'8 1/2" there. Yeah.
Did you get that? Did you hear Charlie's explanation? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's you learn something every day. And that's, of course, the fun of this hobby. So, do we have
Anyone else? Anyone else?
anyone
No?
else?
Are we still doing show and tell? Are we still doing show and tell?
Sure.
All right. Ginny and I are weird in that we model in O scale and also in N scale and nothing in between. Several years ago, I was in very poor health, and a friend of ours in Montana, who goes by the nickname Teep, T-E-E-P, sent me a lovely get well card, and it did wonders for my feelings. And so this past year, I built a little N scale building, and Ginny is going to take it out to her this fall and give it to her. This is the building. I don't know if it's a little N scale design preservation model. And the sign on the front reads Teep's Flowers Bedside Cheer. And it's got some interior. So this made her feel good because she made me feel good. So anyway, this is just an alternate to all this O scale talk, which is a balm to my soul. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. That's good. Anything else?
Oh, and we have the flyers available for the meet. In fact, Dick Freeze was over as Thursday and picked up a bunch of them. So he's going to leave some at the Timonium show today and at the Spring Thaw Train Show in Allentown later this month.
Okay. I also noticed that there's a show coming up in Delaware too.
I think it's a Greenberg show, right?
Is that a Greenberg show? Yeah.
Or whatever they call it. See, there's that other outfit in Illinois that basically bought out a lot of those shows.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, do we have anyone else? It's almost like 3:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it time to close the meeting or not? Let's find out.
Well, we're gonna go down the basement and let's see whether my stalling trolleys decide to have decent contact and not stall, but you never know.
Okay, anybody gonna sign off now and
I guess
see what
the
happened?
meeting here.
Yeah, we can.
Thanks for participating.
You gonna take a
Okay,
laptop down with you?
Thanks.
A pleasure to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Take it easy, guys.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Time to get some
Oh,
munchies and
oh, you
crunchies and
know,
donuts
Yeah,
there you are.
I was gonna say, all right, go ahead.